Good evening, I'm Fana Sheikh and you're watching AWANI Tonight. Bank Negara Malaysia announced the overnight policy rate or OPR is up by 25 basis points to 3%. According to the central bank, the OPR is back to the pre-crisis rate and is more in line with the improved state of the economy. The OPR was lowered to a record 1.75% after the start of the COVID-19 pandemic in the country early 2020. BNM kept rates unchanged at its two previous meetings this year, as it sought to assess the impact of 4 consecutive hikes totaling 100 basis points in 2022. According to BNM, the latest developments mean better economic activity in the first quarter of 2023, driven by strong domestic demand, household spending, and better labour market conditions. It said Malaysia's economy was expected to grow 4 to 5% this year. Both headline and core inflation are expected to moderate over the course of 2023, averaging between 2.8% to 3.8%. Meanwhile, the global economy will continue to be driven by resilient domestic demand, supported by strong labour market conditions and a stronger than expected rebound of China's economy. Malaysians can now renew their driving licence for a maximum of 10 years under a new initiative by the Transport Ministry. Its Minister, Anthony Loh, said those who wish to renew their licence for up to 10 years would also enjoy a 10% discount.
Bayaran fee untuk lesen memandu ialah RM30 setahun. Jikalau membayar untuk 10 tahun sekaligus, bayaran yang akan dikenakan hanyalah RM270, iaitu penyematan RM30.
Those who want to renew must ensure that their licence has not expired for more than a year. Additionally, Lok said those whose licences expired as of January 1st, 2018 will also be able to renew them without having to retake the driving test. This renewal period is only valid until December 31st, and the driving test requirement will apply again from January 1st next year. These initiatives, he said, will commence on May 8th at all Road Transport Department offices only and are only applicable to Malaysian citizens and not to foreigners holding special passes such as the MyCars card. Lok said for those renewing their licences, they should not be blacklisted by the police nor have any existing restrictions imposed by JPJ and free from any suspension due to a conviction or court order. Meanwhile, the Education Ministry has announced that students and teachers will be allowed to wear sports attire to schools due to the ongoing hot weather, while students who opt to wear their regular uniforms will not be required to wear ties. The ministry requested schools to monitor weather conditions to ensure that immediate action can be taken to ensure the welfare of students and teachers. Meanwhile, Deputy Education Minister Lim Hui Ying said state education departments would be given the discretion to decide on school closures if temperatures continue to rise. According to the ministry's guidelines, during this period, schools would be allowed to close if temperatures exceed 67 degrees Celsius for 3 consecutive days. All educational institutions are also allowed to close if the Malaysian Meteorological Department declares a heat wave in their areas. Outdoor activities would also be suspended if the heat reaches 35 to 37 degrees Celsius for 3 days in a row. Malaysia will transition to a dual network model for the country's 5G rollout when the targeted 80% coverage of populated areas is reached through Digital Nasional Berhad. Communications and Digital Minister Fahmi Fazil expresses confidence that the target set by the government can be achieved by year-end.
Yes, this administration is confident in the belief that we can reach 80% by end of this year. At this material time, the rollout of the 5G network has reached 57.8%, which is an increase over the last stated figure of 54.7% at the end of February. So as of right now, we have reached 57.8%, which means the road to 80% of coverage of populated areas is another 22.2%. So I think it is doable. It's about another roughly about another 2,000 sites.
Malaysia had in 2021 unveiled a plan for the state-owned agency DNB to own the full 5G spectrum, with various carriers using the infrastructure to provide mobile services. Malaysia has ranked 73rd out of the 180 countries on the 2023 World Press Freedom Index by Reporters Without Borders. It marks the highest rank ever attained by Malaysia, remaining at the top of the ASEAN region for the second year in a row. Malaysia moved up 40 places compared to the previous year when it was placed at 113th. It is positioned ahead of Thailand, which ranked 106th, Indonesia 108th, Singapore 129th, Philippines 132nd, Brunei 142nd, Cambodia 147th, Laos 160th, Myanmar 173rd, and Vietnam 178th. The country's previous record in the World Press Freedom Index was in 2020, when it was ranked 101st. What does Malaysia's latest ranking in the 2023 World Press Freedom Index tell us? Washla Naidu from the Centre for Independent Journalism discusses Malaysia's performance on the 30th anniversary of World Press Freedom Day.
While we are comparing ourselves with ASEAN countries, and we shouldn't be comparing ourselves with, say, countries like Myanmar or Vietnam. Vietnam is at 178 and Myanmar is at 173. I mean, these are countries with between 40 to 70 odd journalists or media workers in prison under harsh conditions. Myanmar also has a report of 4 journalists being killed. So we don't want to compare with these countries. I think what we urge our government to do as we move forward is to compare ourselves with countries which are in the top 10. Looking at Norway, for example, they're at number 1, and Norway definitely has a more robust media environment, right? And then we have one of the newest democracy in Southeast Asia, Timor-Leste, this tiny country, at number 10. So what it really says is, if Timor-Leste can be at number 10 with its press council and its, increasingly more vibrant media, I think there is a lot of possibility for Malaysia to move forward and develop in a way that is more progressive with an environment that really protects the rights of media.
Prime Minister Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim says the government is committed to uphold freedom of the press. Washla outlines what areas Putrajaya should look into to honour this commitment.
So first and foremost, of course, there is a need for a comprehensive review of all the laws that are often used to silence the media or restrict media freedom. So it's not just about the Sedition Act or the Printing Presses or Publications Act. It also includes the Official Secrets Act. It includes Section 233 of the Communications and Multimedia Act. It cannot be a piecemeal, looking at one law. It has to be more of an attempt to promote the rights of media and not to silence, censor or restrict the rights of media. The second thing is really about creating a more enabling media environment. And this includes addressing the economic threats to media. The government really needs to push ahead with a review and reform around labor challenges experienced by media. These are issues not always raised to the forefront, right? And that relates to the next reform that's going to be critical, that is aimed at strengthening the security and safety of journalists. And it's not just the commitments around physical safety, but also now to look at the emerging online threats.
We will go for a quick break. Stay tuned for more.
Saya ingin bebaskan rambut saya. Ya, lakukannya. Walau apa pun anda lakukan, jangan risau. Sunset Baharu dengan vitamin C, minyak argan dan elastin dalam Active Infusion untuk rambut lembut mengurai dengan haruman berpanjangan. Bebaskan rambut cantik anda dengan Sunset Baharu.
Perlukan penyelesaian semalaman untuk kulit cantik? Baharu, Vaseline Glutathione Overnight Radiance Repair dengan kepekatan 10 masker muka. Bangun pagi dengan kulit terhidrat, berseri dan anjal. Vaseline Baharu.
Kepada anda yang merancang perjalanan untuk beraya, muat turun aplikasi Plus. Manfaatkan waktu dan ikuti perkembangan trafik semasa untuk perjalanan yang lebih lancar. Jika anda berdepan dengan sebarang masalah, hubungi nombor yang tertera atau klik butang SOS di aplikasi Plus. Nikmati kemudahan di RNR termasuklah bayaran tanpa tunai. Plus akan memastikan perjalanan anda sentiasa berada dalam keadaan yang selamat. Untuk maklumat lanjut, layari www.plus.com.my.
Bombastika raya-raya kita gembira. Bombastika.
Assalamualaikum, hai, saya Amir Masdi. Di kesempatan ini saya ingin mengucapkan Selamat Hari Raya Aidilfitri. Maaf saya dah batin. Kepada semua, saksikan saya dan rakan artis dalam konsert Bombastika Raya di Astro Go.
U-Mobile kini ada jualan Bombastika Raya 5G. Adanya peranti 5G percuma serta Ultra Hotspot sehingga 1000 GB. Layari u.com.my sekarang.
Welcome back. The US reiterates its support for the Philippines in the ongoing maritime dispute with China's Coast Guard in the South China Sea. This was clarified by Assistant Secretary of State for East Asian and Pacific Affairs, Daniel Kurtenbrink, following Philippine President Ferdinand Marcos Jr.'s 5-day visit to Washington.
This is really a very important issue, and we remain deeply concerned by the PRC's continued intimidation and harassment of Philippine vessels as they continue to undertake really routine patrols within the Philippines exclusive economic zone. And such actions and behavior on the part of Beijing are truly unacceptable. We stand with the Philippines in the face of the PRC Coast Guard's ongoing infringement and harassment of the Philippines' freedom of navigation in the South China Sea. And look, the best way to prevent such incidents in the future would be for the PRC to make a commitment to uphold the rules-based international order and freedom of navigation in the South China Sea, and to abide by the 2016 Arbitral Tribunal ruling, which of course is binding on both parties. We again call upon Beijing to desist from its provocative and unsafe conduct. The United States will continue to track and monitor those interactions closely, but most importantly, we'll continue to stand with our Filipino allies. We'll continue to operate together.
On to developments in Thailand, leading Prime Minister candidate Paetongtarn Shinawatra expresses her confidence of a landslide election win this May 14th. The daughter of exiled former Prime Minister Thaksin Shinawatra also says she will resume campaigning next week, a few days after giving birth.
I think that Thailand needs change already. We can't wait anymore. So we're not going to, do the election and then just to wait and see again that which party can form the government. We need to make the landslide happen for Pheu Thai so we can change the country real fast, immediately, So if the Pheu Thai can form the government and select the Prime Minister from Pheu Thai, so all the policy can be delivered to people.
The 36-year-old made her first public appearance in a month, introducing her second child called Thaksin, who was born on Monday. Meanwhile, Thaksin reiterated on Twitter a promise that he would return to Thailand after 15 years in exile. However, Paetongtarn stressed that any homecoming would be unrelated to politics. A 14-year-old boy shot 9 people dead, including his classmates and a security guard in a classroom in Belgrade, Serbia. The shooter first shot his teacher before he opened fire in the classroom. Authorities said doctors are currently fighting to save the teacher's life. 8 children and a security guard were killed, and 6 children along with the teacher were hospitalized. Police confirmed the 7th grade student had been arrested. An investigation into the motives behind the shooting is underway. A witness who is the father of one of the pupils in the classroom said the shooter was quiet and well-behaved, and he recently joined the class. That wraps up Awani Tonight. I'm Fina Sheh. Thank you for watching.